How do I look, guys? Am I okay? Am I
Sexy.
pretty?
You could play Thor.
How do I look, guys? Am I okay? Am I
Sexy.
pretty? I was at a party a few weeks ago, and they talked about that I should be.
About
Thor.
Thor. A guy in the Whole Foods that I walked by stopped and turned and went, Jesus. And we had a conversation. Yeah. I said, I've come back. He liked it.
I guess we're live now.
Yeah, we are. Whenever you do it in this fashion, it opens up YouTube and it opens up my channel to my page. So it tells you that we're streaming, which creates this echo effect.
Silly Zoom.
It's so silly. I wish they wouldn't. Welcome to episode 4, Hometown Heroes, Azimuth Busters and Friends, playing Mutants and Masterminds RPG. And we are playing the published adventure path. I believe it's the only published adventure path for Mutants and Masterminds 3rd edition. I may be wrong. I'm frequently wrong. I cover it well, but I believe I'm right this time. I think this is correct. I want to welcome all of my players. We are down 1 today by design, but that's okay. Jordan, our psychic, Kid Blackout, as he's going by this week, will be with us in spirit and in Hero Lab, so we won't be missing that as well. So I want to welcome everybody. If you've been enjoying the broadcasts up to this point, oh hi, I'm your game master. I'm Mike Azzolino. Some people call me Azimuth, Azimuth Busters, like Myth Busters. No, I don't. My partner in crime for this stream is the gentleman who is missing from today's broadcast. So we're down Mark, but we do have the rest of the crew. And in last episode, we had kind of a climactic ending with yet another combat with another supergroup. But in this case, that supergroup was not bad guys. Originally, it was the FOE guys, and then later, members of the Freedom League. So real quickly, let me unpin myself here and get back to my gallery view. There we go. So real quickly, before we moved on, I wanted to share with you an image. I talked to you about it before we started streaming a little bit, but I wanted you guys to see the image of the 4 individuals that you did really well to fight someone of higher stature. So I don't know if that kind of matches your impressions of the 4 people that you fought. Of course, 7 was the lady who did.
Oh, there's no way, dude. I would have been far more polite.
You know,
I didn't know they looked that badass. I'm just, some Mexican wrestler. I would have, maybe kept my place. But anyway, okay.
Yeah. Bowman was the gentleman who was being really flirty with Miyu.
While wearing a cowl, the sheer nerve.
Yeah, exactly. Johnny Rocket looks like that, teenage kind of speedster throwing the. And then finally down at the bottom, Dr. Metropolis. So I wanted to share that with you. I don't know if that matched your images of the folks that
Pretty close. Pretty close for me.
Good. Glad to hear it. Yeah. So you have accepted Maximilian Mars's offer to be part of this new supergroup for Emerald City, the first official supergroup for Emerald City. He's calling it the Sentinels, and I believe it was Steve who suggested calling it the Sentinel 6. Mm-hmm. And there's 5 of you, which leaves one kind of the mystery space of what they got an invisible on their team. Does he fly? Is he
Well, it's not a
things.
bad idea because now they're going to be wondering, right?
Is he
Yeah.
microscopic? Like, you
Where's
know,
the sixth one?
you could spin that in a whole lot of ways. So, although Max says, you know, unofficially, he says, I love that. I love that a lot. It has a lot of legs and has a lot of potential. But I'm going to leave it to the marketing departments, of course, because they spend a lot of my money to determine which colors, which symbols, which patterns, etc.
We've got a marketing department.
Well, Mars Tech does, of course. And you have that department to leverage for the Sentinels, because the Sentinels are basically, your super group is basically a corporation, another corporation that Mars owns.
Excuse me, Mr. Mars, sir. We didn't talk about this. Am I getting paid, sir? Because my truck, it's broken down right now. The insurance is giving me a hard time about, you know, so.
Oh,
Anyway.
Jose, you will be provided with a salary, probably company vehicles, assignable equipment.
I've got this big old shit-eating grin on it. I can't hide it.
You'll be staying.
know.
You'll be staying at the HQ. I mean, you won't be paying rent to live there. You'll be living downtown.
Oh,
and
no,
rent-free.
I have to tell my sister I've been living in her basement.
Oh, you may not want to do that.
Help them with the rent, you know.
You may
Anyway.
want to wait and talk to your handlers before you reach out to family members.
What? Well, I don't understand.
Things are about to change for you, Jose. Things are not going to be the way they were before. Before, you concealed your identity for other reasons. We're going to take care of those reasons, so you have no worries for those things anymore. But my friend, you will still want to wear your luchador's mask. You will.
Well, of course I. All right, I'll talk to Mr. Stevens about it. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks for your time. I'll let myself out, and I'm clutching my hat in my hand, and I'm backing out the door. I'm not used to this. Sorry.
I don't think any of us are.
So I'll read to you the opening paragraph for Hometown Heroes, Scene 3, Part 2. The next few days are a whirlwind of activity, during which you meet with local authorities, politicians, citizens groups, and the press for interviews, press conferences, and photo shoot after photo shoot. Mars and his team organize the meetings and press events, but step aside when it's your time to shine and only offer advice or input when asked for it. In all, they prove to be a very good resource, but mostly stay out of your way. You, in turn, learn a lot about dealing with the authorities, both in public and in private. Thankfully, everyone appears to want to work with you. They're very interested in having a team of superheroes to call on when threats like the Silver Storm and its after effects occur in the future. To show its support for you, one of the citizens groups suggests the mayor give you the key to the city. That proves to be a popular suggestion, and by the end of the week, you find yourselves standing on a stage on the steps of City Hall, receiving the key in a public ceremony.
We didn't do anything. This is like Obama's Nobel. Like it's a good idea. It was just early, you know.
You got to earn it afterwards.
Afterwards, you spend some time talking to the press and signing glossy pictures of yourself for hordes of adoring fans. Once the ceremony and the media circus surrounding is over, you're due to meet with some agents at their headquarters in City Hall. So you're at a key ceremony. The mayor is here. He's an unnamed suit at this point. He hasn't played a large role, so he's just, he's a politician. You're being given the keys to the city for two reasons. Number one, for your fast reactions and first response to the troubles that followed the Silver Storm. The storm itself was disorienting for the whole entire city. It took logistics offline and all the emergency response crews, and it really rang the bell of the whole city, really stunned everyone. And the fact that you were able to react as quickly as you did, at least in that localized area, you certainly minimized the death toll and cleared the way so a thoroughfare could be established to get emergency vehicles into areas that it wouldn't otherwise be able to do. That was because of you guys. You did that. And you did it without anybody directing you to do so. There was no firemen, there were no officials, there was no one saying, we need to get trucks in here. You just fucking did it, and it worked. So that's why you're being given the keys to the city. That and the fact that on the strength of that popularity, on the strength of that publicity, mixed with about $10 million worth of really good PR, prime commercials, really polished kind of, they're doing infomercial like spotlight shows on each one of you. Over the course of a week, they do a half-hour show on each one of you. Most of the stuff is complete bullshit. It's all complete bullshit. Because they're doing it to set the stage of protecting your private identities, because Mars is very aware about how this is going to change your lives. He's seen it happen before with other supers, and there have been supers who are like, I don't need a secret identity. I'll just be transparent. I'll be out. Which is great, but everyone around them gets targeted constantly, as the comic book classic tale goes. So there's a need that is garnered by the position that you're going to take. So these little dossiers, they're actual interviews where you sat down the best way to describe it is like a casting interview where you were put on the super suit. How's that feel? That feels pretty good. Is that fitting right? Okay. Well, what do you think about this? Oh, well, these kind of things where they're asking generalized questions, and you were being filmed the whole time, but there was no director. It wasn't under any pretense. It was just, they got tons of footage. This is what Mars does. He gets tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of footage from all different angles. And then these people just splice it to editing fucking perfection. So they got these little half-hour bits of you where you're watching yourself and you're like, I remember saying a lot of that stuff, but none of it was really in the context that it's being shown. And I'm a badass. Look at me. And the other thing that they did is they took footage from the savior moments, the saving the city moments, and they superimposed your super suits. So they have 3D images of you actually in the Sentinel-6. And so, Steve, you will get an email at one point directly from Mars. You're the only person he has had direct correspondence with. Usually he talks through his teams and his handlers and his department heads and shit like that, right? So he's already told you you're going to meet with your handler, AKA the chief executive officer of Sentinels, Emerald City Sentinels. That's the company. And so you are the commodity. He runs the company, right? So you're going to meet with him and talk with that guy. One
of the things in all of this is I'm very careful to only let on the powers that I have are speed and movement.
Okay.
It's something that I keep very, very closely guarded.
All the other stuff is on the
Everything
down low.
else.
Sure. That's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, that's one of my complications as well, is that second level secret identity.
Sure, that makes sense. So as I was saying, you get an email from Mars, and
Got corporate email. in our super group?
And he tells you
America.
This is very, very formal.
that he bounced your idea off of the team. He bounced your idea off the team, and he says, "Here's what we've decided. We like the idea, rolls well, markets well, it tests really well. So we're going with Sentinel-6, but we're going to change things up just a little bit. We expect that the team is going to grow larger than just the 5 of you, with the 6th man being the question mark, right? So we're going to treat you as the prime squad within the Sentinels. There will be other Sentinels down the road. They're already recruiting now. As we get closer to actually making offers of employment to other Sentinels, their dossiers will be made available to you. And then it's also got some attached files, which shows an upgraded version of the Sentinel kind of uniform with, instead of having a big giant 6 on it, it's the emblem, the Sentinel emblem now has a stylistic 6 around the outside of it. So it's kind of a diamond before. They've opened the diamond up and made it more like a 6 now. It's for Sentinel-6. And that will be like the founding, like, Delta team, it'll be like, sort of like that is what he's thinking that they'll do. So you have a green light to call yourself the Sentinel-6.
Okay, perfect.
And they've already began several fluff pieces on who's number 6, who is the mysterious number 6, like where each one of you got a half an hour. They're doing like, okay, so get this, Mars owns an investigative, he owns a network, he owns production stage studios, so he has a team that are independent. They're not branded as Mars Tech. They're not branded as anything. They're branded as just independent journalists who are going to crack the story. They're going to crack the story. We're going to find out who number 6 is. Number 1 through 5, and each one of you will be designated like it's a 6. You started the number thing. So, Steve, you need to assign. We assume you're going to be number 1.
I assume Steve's number 1.
So you're going to have to assign
Number 1 in our
2 through
hearts.
5 for the rest of the group. So, and those will officially be like your codes as well. So there will be combinations of your names and your numbers in there. And we're starting a whole big giant fluff piece on breaking the story on who's number 6.
Oh, okay. So they haven't yet taken it to you could be number 6 and done a whole campaign of like win a contest.
I am Quattro.
Reality
That's
TV.
who I am.
Okay.
'Cause
No,
I think that's
that's thirsty, Steve. We don't want to appear to be thirsty. We're not going to be running contests. We want high quality heroes serving in the Sentinels. We really, really like the idea of a question mark. It's a distraction. It's something shiny over here for the public to look at, so they're not digging into who really is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's give them a big sensational question mark and just dangle that stinky question mark in their face all the time, so they're constantly, hey, look over here. See, it works.
Okay.
So that's the extent of the email. Also, Mars's emails, including having holographic attachments to them, they also have one-time use two-way communication links in them. So as you're reading them, if you have any questions, click the link and you're like, okay, I have a question. You click the link and he's like, yes, Steve, what can I do for you? You're like, what the fuck?
Ooh, do you want to know more?
So if you had a question from Mars directly, you could do so securely on this very, very scrambled and protected channel of communication without writing an email, which is, as secure as it is.
So is you protecting her identity then as well from her fan base? How are you rolling with that?
I'll have to look and see. I mean, I'd rather not, but I'm
With
not
me,
sure
you,
how.
with me, you, there's two factors to consider. Are
Yeah.
you hiding who you are? Are you hiding what you are?
The what's definitely hidden. That doesn't get mentioned to anybody because I'm extremely embarrassed about it.
I mean,
But-
you are a celebrity, so
Yeah, no, the kind of like, hey everybody, guess what? I'm a superhero now kind of thing is definitely a part of it. Because I've always kept my family outside of the internet space.
does Miyu
But-
stay the little girl internet sensation that she is, and your superhero identity is something completely different? Like you strap on a super suit, you cover your head in spandex, you wear a cape and call yourself blah 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 blah. Darkwave. What
Right.
are you calling yourself?
And Daydream.
Yeah. So
Daydream.
I mean, you could wear a costume that completely hides the fact
yeah.
that it's me.
Yeah, definitely could.
So it just depends what you
think-
want to do with that.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to go the open route. Kind of introduce that because I'm gonna have less time to do things on my channel, and it'd be kind of cool to be able to also use it as a platform for recording things that happen in hero life. So I think I'm going to like transition that, and I've already kept it very separate from family, so none of them should be affected by it. Like, is Miyu's way of thinking, whether that's true or not, who knows?
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's the way that's going to go. Is there's going to be a little reveal because hiding your face, Miyu's face is like, this is
Amazing.
important. Face is important.
Right.
This is like, look at me, and if you're not looking at me, where are you looking? Hopefully at the clothing that I've designed. But yeah, and it's like the super suits. Oh boy, they're so cheesy.
Okay, so
uh,
you'll be number 2 then. That's
I'll take it. I'll take
that's-
number 2.
That's a lucky Chinese number,
That's a lucky number. I'm Japanese, but
but that's the
Okay.
closest I could come up with. So you'll just
All
have
right.
to-
So
lucky.
we have
So it makes
velocity.
Phyllis number 3.
So S1 is velocity.
Yeah.
S2 is Dreamweave.
Daydream.
Daydream. Sorry.
Mixing me up with Jordan.
Daydream. Well, he changes his name.
I know we're friends, but we're not that close.
S3 is who?
Phyllis, I believe, because Jose wanted to be
I'll
number
take
4.
I'll take S3. So I'm just Crow because my actual last name is Crow Feather. And yeah, I'm a big fan of the anonymity.
Do you want to
Not
do like a weird spelling of it? Maybe do KROW?
Yes, there you go. There
Or
you
maybe
go.
2 W's,
Exactly.
KROWW.
Let's
See,
do
this is-
KROWE. Like I think it was
like
like yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
now-
I
That's
feel like
good.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
so
like
now-
a PTA woman naming a child,
No,
Stephanie.
no, it's-
E.
You're
Yeah.
you're involved in low level legal work. You're just trying to change the name around to get trademark
Yeah,
No, I
that's-
like
dig that.
keys.
I dig that. And then S4 is going to be Jose.
Quattro. Yes.
All right. So Luchador. Luchador. And S5 is going to be.
Jordan.
I'm afraid to write it in pen because I know by the next time we see him, his name
pencil it in.
his name will change again. But for now, we're
Blackout.
talking about Kid Blackout is S5.
His name previously was Dark.
Darkwave.
Darkwave?
Darkwave, and then now he's Kid Blackout, and next week, who knows?
Honestly,
wait to find out.
Mars tells you that the marketing team Darkwave tested way better. People liked it way better. They kept thinking like he should have, with the name Kid Blackout, they keep wanting to see an old west kind of styling to him, and he doesn't have that at all, right?
Yeah,
I want to see
he's-
breakdancing.
He's all like,
Breakdown.
hair over one eye emo kid.
And
Kid
he's not even
Blackout,
really a
he's-
kid.
yeah,
He's
cowboy.
my age. He's 19. I mean, come
Right.
on.
Right. Well, And then S6, of course, is
We're in college.
big,
To
smelly
be
question mark.
determined.
Who is the sixth?
Mysterion.
Mars says, you know, it's impossible to predict the future, and you never know. At some point, we may want to fill the mysterious shoes of number 6.
I
For
feel
now,
like they're
it
gonna end
also-
up being our oracle.
We can also temporarily fill those shoes. We can,
like they could become like the drummer of Spinal Tap.
that's right. You're number 6 today.
Yeah. Like Silver Era Sentinels had this dude. Golden Era Sentinels had this dude. Modern Era had this dude. How many fucking number 6s have there been? You know, we keep thinking the curse is going to get broken, but it still hasn't.
Number
That's
6
horrible.
just doesn't
That's horrible.
stick.
No one would want that spot. No, hey, we want you to come be Sentinel 6. They're like, fuck you. Fuck you, Sentinel 6.
Like being a red shirt on Sunday.
Yeah. The curse.
I
of
know
the
what
six.
happens to the keyboard players of the Grateful Dead. No, thank you. Spontaneous combustion. Kiss my ass. No. All right. So we have the Sentinel 6 laid out. I love that. That makes me happy. All right. So you meet the mayor, and actually, to show you how significant and how relevant the mayor is to you, he's nowhere to be found. The lieutenant mayor, the vice mayor, is doing everything. And she's a lovely woman, really sweet lady, very nice woman. You can tell she's like one of those politicians who really is there for the right reasons. She's not there because of her ego. She really wants to make a difference. So she's the one who set up the press conference. People are asking her things, logistics, setup guys, speakers, lights, the whole bit. And you see her actively, and she's got you kind of in a staging area that's behind a temporary kind of curtain and an overhang. So you're not in the sun. You can rest in this outdoor kind of like little green area where they have some little cucumber finger sandwiches and some lemonade for you to drink while you're waiting there.
I like cucumber sandwiches.
She gets everything all kind of set up. She will then basically cue everyone to start rolling, recording, whatever. She makes a brief introduction saying, welcome to the city key ceremony. The mayor will be joining us to award the now named Sentinels will be given the key of the city. And you see her assistant, funny, you see her assistant like lean in and kind of tug on her blouse a little bit while she's on the mic, and she kind of does one of these, cover the microphone, lean back, and she's like, I'm sorry, we're calling them the Sentinel 6. The Sentinel 6 are going to be given the key of the city. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Sentinel 6. And everybody's, laughing at that point. At that point, a guy with a headphone and a microphone, he comes behind the curtain. He's like, people, let's go, let's go.
Let's go.
Done.
All right.
You are led in a very specific order. So you start walking towards them like, whoa, hold on.
Number one goes first.
Hold on. Yeah, exactly. They have you go out in your order.
I like it.
So 1,
nice.
2, 3, 4, 5. And the guy on the microphone is like, where's 6? Where's the 6? Is 6 in the toilet? Where's 6? And you hear him, he's like, oh. So you walk up onto the podium. As you're walking up onto the podium, the big giant doors that lead into City Hall, the big, massive, impressive statement doors, which are usually open during business, they're closed right now. And for presentation, they're opened up, and the mayor and his entourage come down for the photographic moment. He comes out. He says a few words. Emerald City is incredibly proud City Hall is very proud to walk hand in hand into the future with the first legally sanctioned supergroup to grow roots here in Emerald City. Lots of clapping. He says, the key to the city is not just a figurative thing. Here in Emerald City, we like to do things a little different. And keeping with the origin of the naming of this place, he says, I would like to present this key to the Sentinel Six. He turns, puts his hands out. One of his assistants comes up. He has a case with two assistants. They step forward. One guy holds the case out. The other guy opens the case up. There's a green glow that comes out of the case, like a fucking wah. He reaches in and he pulls out a fairly large, kind of cartoonish looking key, big one, but it's made out of a translucent looking, almost jade looking kind of material, but it has a sheen on it that reflects light like metal. So maybe it's a pearlescence, maybe it's an anodized in this color. You're not quite sure. But the thing you do notice about it is the design of the key. It harkens back to the story that Emerald City was named after. The length of the key looks like a road made of brick.
It's cool.
The back of the key has very fanciful kind of shapes that are reminiscent of that kind of architecture. Almost like if you held it up and looked at it, it almost looks like the skyline of the top of fantasy buildings with cutouts in there where you could see the windows also. And at the very bottom of this key is so intricate, it doesn't look like it could possibly work as a key, but it has that kind of sprawling, fissuring kind of expanse to it at the end. And you can almost imagine that it would fit into certainly something magical, but you just can't imagine how it would turn within a lock. But it's like this big.
Wow.
And the governor says, Emerald City is proud to give one of these very, very few limited edition keys to the city. And who will be receiving this from me, from the Sentinels? And the vice mayor says, Steve? Velocity? I'm sorry, Velocity?
That's Mr. Stevens. Go.
Just like that, my secret identity is.
The end.
Yeah.
The end.
Oops, sorry. No, not like that.
Step forward.
Velocity.
So he steps to the side, but doesn't look at you. And he says, Emerald City is very proud to present this to you. We thank you for your service in the past before you were even anything. And we thank you for your service in the future where you will grow to be something spectacular. And then he sets it down on the podium instead of handing it to you. And he turns around and he walks out with his entourage, leaving you there to speak. And there's flashes and flashes and the vice mayor who's standing right next to you, she's like,
Should I go and grab it?
yeah. So you walk to the podium, you pick it up. It is not cold to the touch, although it does feel like metal. It has kind of a light, kind of aluminum, titanium, magnesium, like it feels solid. It doesn't feel hollow, but it also feels incredibly light at the same time.
Okay.
And flash.
When he picks it up, I'm gonna let some little like sparkles and fireworks pop out.
At least it's not plutonium heavy, so that's good.
She says, ladies and gentlemen, this is Velocity. We are calling him Sentinel One. He is, well, I'll let him speak for himself. Number one. More flashes.
Yeah. Thank you for this great honor. I am a longtime generational resident of this fine city, and I look forward to continuing to serve and protect in this capacity. And I want to give everybody else on my team a moment to speak. And then I step back.
Okay.
I'll pop over and just this is really exciting. I'm super looking forward to working with these great people here and helping protect the city and keep everyone's lives working and running really well. And that's all I have to say. I'll see you all around.
Are you or are you totally daydreamed out?
Oh, I mean, the lines are blurry. I've got I don't stay long in spandex, so there's things have already become frilly and colorful, and I'm not hiding my face because I don't.
Okay, so
So,
you're you.
I'm
You're
me.
you.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
100%.
All right.
Um,
So when they introduce you as Daydream and you are up on the podium as Miyu, everyone's like, "Oh, Miyu's Daydream." Okay. All right. Good. Next.
my face is completely obscured. Thank you very much.
You could be wearing a mask. You could be
Yeah, my
wearing
face
a
is completely
stylistic mask.
no,
You
I'm
could-
completely obscured with my new costume, and I just thank you very much. That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't wish to be.
maybe
A
like
woman
of few
maybe like
words.
a fur hood with just slits for your eyes. Instead of a mask, you have like a kind of a hood that sits over your face, so only this part of you is exposed.
Exactly. Maybe some feathers coming out of the
Oh,
top.
you can
from
adorn
the
it
back.
however you
And
like,
that is
but
all. That is
yeah.
all. I am not. This is not my.
that would also be great too,
Public
because when you
speaking
shape
is-
change, when you shape change, does your stuff come off of you or does it
no,
go
it
with
sucks
you?
in.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you go
Unless
from a
you-
fur mask to a fur face. That'd be cute.
Unless you
Yes.
added
Yeah.
a-
Nobody can
unless-
see me.
All
Yeah,
right.
unless you added a limitation or a complication to your power.
Which I don't
Okay.
believe that she did.
No, she didn't.
All right. The stage manager, she softly grabs your elbow, Jose. She gives you just a little touch on the elbow. She's like, you're right after Phyllis. You're almost up.
I try not to look too afraid. Actually, I was a luchador in the ring. I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, you know how to
Yeah.
put on a show.
As long as
Jose.
you got the mask on.
You know how to put on a show. Plus, you've been told that you have no worry. You don't need to worry about people knowing it's you anymore. So this is your first opportunity to really put that to the test.
You should grab a random person in the audience and unload you.
I have a plan. It's okay. So I'll wait for them to call me out.
Sure. So Phyllis does her, thank you very much, and just keeps her head and walks up and does like a flyby. She does a flyby on the microphone, and the manager points you forward.
And I'll wait for them to announce me. I'll look around. I guess I'll.
stepping up to the podium.
Oh,
Number
I thought I was waiting
four.
for number 4. Quattro, please. Gracias. Thank you. Thank you to the mayor and to Mr. Mars, Mr. Stevens. This is such an incredible honor. I only have one message to the good people of Emerald City, and in particular the children and the youth, which should become a problem, as we all know, on the city streets. It's very simple. Listen to your mom. That's my message. Listen to your mom. Thank you.
You hear a familiar voice screaming Latin love to you from the audience, likely your sister. She's the only one who puts the lito end of your name, Joselito.
Thank you. Muy great. Thank you, and I'll leave. Yeah.
So you know your family's in the audience. You know that. All right. And then Jordan, of course, he'll like try to pull as much of his fucking hair as possible over his eyes. So you can't. He's not wearing a mask. He just like does the total like fold it over so you can barely see one of his
Total
eyes.
emo boy. It's embarrassing anyway.
And
kinda
and
cute.
he'll walk looking at his feet. He never looks up when he walks up to the stage, and he gets up to the podium and looking down the whole time he goes, "Thank you."
I feel like Phyllis and
Yeah,
we're going
my
to
yeah,
feel
we're
some
good in tune.
companionship there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I talk so much, is because he talks so little. Now I'm gonna be talking for two people instead of just one.
So the vice mayor thanks everyone for coming, and they said you'll be seeing a lot more from Sentinel Tower and from the Sentinel 6 in the future, and then they lead you back into that covered area, and when you come back into that green room area, there is a man, mid 40s, you would gather. He has that kind of graying over the temples that Mars had as well. This man has jet black hair, much darker olive complexion, kind of a pointed jaw, reminds you of a Spaniard a little bit. He's got that kind of a look to him. What catches your eye, especially you, Steve, is he's wearing, $10K worth of suit. He's wearing a really, he's dressed very nice. There is an assistant with him who is working like an iPad and is sitting just to the side of him. He's sitting at the table that's here, having a cucumber cake and a coffee. And there's also a thug who's standing next to him as well. And that guy looks fairly relaxed. He doesn't look like he's like all twitchy, got a hand on his gun kind of thing. He's just standing there. He's also wearing a nice suit as well, but not business kind of cut. He's wearing more like night attire. He's not wearing a formal shirt under his jacket. So he's got that kind of,
You have a gold chain necklace.
he's not that Goomba, but kind of got that kind of Miami Vice kind of, I'm wearing a t-shirt under $1,000 fucking suit jacket kind of thing, and he, as I said, he's a pro. You see telltale bulges on both sides.
So I have the well-informed advantage.
Sure.
So that allows me to potentially know more about an individual, group, or organization the first time I meet them.
Okay.
Using an investigation or persuasion skill check to see if
Fuck yeah. Rock that. Do it.
it.
Make that check for me.
So with investigation, 28.
28. Okay. So two things you notice. Even though dude is wearing nice tailored attire, his shoes are military grade boot underneath his really nice slacks, right? So he's got shit and gets on. The other thing you notice is he's got an ambidextrous shoulder holsters. He's locked and loaded on both sides, and you could see that there was a bulge on both sides. He has a very noticeable scar, and it's not just a wound. It's a scar that you recognize as being a group scar, like a brand, like a tattoo, but it's a little more discreet than that. And these bastards take a cut across an eye. They risk losing an eye to mark themselves as being part of this group. And they're a mercenary band that has disbanded. They were like 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and then most of them were killed in action. The rest of them kind of disbanded. And you recognize that he's got that cut all the way through his eyebrow where it can't grow hair anymore. So he's got that big gap there. You can see where his eyelid has been split. You can see where his cheek has been split in a like a perfect, succinct line.
Okay.
So you recognize that. The other thing you notice, and the last thing that you notice, is the guard guy. He's bald. He's got a shaved head, right? And the back of his head, because he's standing at an off angle when you walk into the room. The executive person in the really nice suit is standing here. The assistant standing beyond him, and he's sitting like perpendicular to you when you come in, and you can see that he has a barcode tattooed on his neck. When you walk back into this space, the stage manager leads you in. He goes, "You guys did fantastic. I know that's a lot of pressure. It's really crazy your first time in front of 500 cameras and probably something like 15 million viewers. That was incredible. You did really, really good. You know, I commend you on it, and you did a fantastic job. You made my job really easy." And he leads you in, and as he's stepping in, the executive guy says, "Oh, good. We can get started. You fuck off." And to the stage manager, and the stage manager was like, "Oh, yes, sir," right away. And he goes, "Good job, guys. Good luck." And he leaves.
I walk over and I sit down.
What are we
Ah.
starting?
He says, Sentinel 6. I
That's us.
am Mr. Paul. I am the chief executive officer of Sentinel Emerald City offices. We plan to potentially branch out in the future, but that is once we have created a prototype that can be reproduced in other markets. But for now, I wanted to come in, now that you are a thing, I wanted to be on the forefront of meeting with you, talking with you, so you understood what's at stake, who the players are, what you should be concerned with, and know that I will be a very hands-on chief executive.
And what exactly
Meaning
is your
I will be very accessible to you, but ultimately, when it comes to operations, it will be your call. There may be moments in the future where you have potentially made some expensive decisions, and the board may want to intervene. I don't see that happening for quite some time, and there's going to be a feeling out period, certainly. And it's my job as your liaison to the board and to Mars Tech in general.
I'm going to get up and walk away.
You're going to get up and walk away?
I'm leaving.
We haven't sat down yet.
That's okay. I'm gonna leave the room.
You start to walk away.
Yeah.
He says, Jose, where are you going?
I don't need to hear this.
Oh, actually, you do. You are concerned with payment and living situations and such.
Was that what this discussion is?
Will you be signing your contracts now? It's all been Maximilian Mars speaks well, but we need to make these things legally binding. So that you need to hear what I have to say. Please come back.
I'm going to look at him very hard.
Okay.
You are not going to interfere where our life is concerned. And if you have any
No.
problems at all with the group, you take it up with Mr. Stevens. Now get your paper out and we'll deal with the things you say we need to do.
Please make yourself comfortable. Is there something you'd like to drink, something you'd like to eat? These refreshments are terrible. I bring my own caterer with me. If there's something you'd like, I can have something whipped up for you.
I'll just sit down.
So with
He
that,
says,
what
Jose,
exactly-
I understand you're quite a culinary expert. I would be very interested to potentially taste some of your wares.
It's a taco truck.
what
It's a
exactly is
really
your role
good
as the
taco
CEO?
truck, though, Jose.
What is my role? My role is to make sure the lights stay on, to make sure the bills get paid, to make sure that the media is working for us and not against us, to keep the board happy, and to make my wife happy.
And what's the
Aw.
company's revenue stream? Like how is this intended to be profitable?
Toy sales.
Do you wish to speak of those things now, Steve?
Well, before we sign, I believe that
Yeah.
that's
Well,
pretty much-
The contracts you're about to sign are your agreements to be part of the founding group, the Sentinels. Specifically, your group is going to be the founding squad, which will be, as I like to call you, Strike Team 6.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. And
Sounds
then
very hardcore.
who are the stockholders in this new venture?
That will be made, that will be public information. I will not stand in your way to know these things.
Okay,
I cannot provide you that information as of yet because many of those deals, side deals, are in flux.
okay. Well, as part of this,
We will not be
I think-
public if that's what you mean.
No, that's
We will
fine.
not be traded publicly.
but as part of the our agreement to work as part of this team,
Yes.
we each require 10% ownership of the organization, 10% of the stock for each of us.
I'm gonna leave this entirely up to Mr.
Yeah,
Stevens.
certainly.
I'm
That-
feeling very happy now. My lawyer is on the task. I'm sitting down, I'm pulling up my cell phone and I am checking the score. That's it. We're good.
He said a generous offer of profit sharing and stock options have been included in each one of your packages.
Yeah, but we don't care about that.
It does not equal 10% to each one of you, nor
No,
will
but-
you get
but-
anywhere near that much.
We want to
So
have
we don't,
controlling votes into
Controlling votes in what?
who's
On the
on the
board.
board.
He looks both of you talking at the same time. He's like, Could-
yeah, there's a board that's controlling, that's controlling us.
No,
I guess I
no.
just,
he says, you misunderstand. He says the board is in control of the funds. They keep the business running and the corporation whole. Your jobs will be operations. You will be the ones actually fighting the good fight. It'll be our job of the board to support you in that endeavor. Maybe we got off to the wrong foot. What I was meaning, and this was something that was brought up in the last board meeting, that we were going to give you complete freedom to control your decisions and how you deploy resources. When you need more resources, we will facilitate that as quickly and as efficiently as possible. If for a long period of time, let's say one fiscal year. Let's say in one fiscal year that your freedom to deploy resources has led to a sizable loss. The board will want to talk to you about that. They'll want to control how much money you spend of those resources moving forward. We would never step into any matters, any motions to Jose when he says this. We would never step in any matter whatsoever that controls the lives, the safety, or anything to the like. We would not want to do that. We're rich. We're not evil.
I understand that, and I still believe that our team
Jose's like, wait.
50% ownership of the.
There's a difference.
Well, like I said, you'll all be given some stock. You'll all get profit sharing. Some of the revenue streams I can tell you about is we are working with an animation department who will be making.
What's the current valuation of the company?
It's still being counted. We're still working on that. This is all very new. Mars kicked this football day before yesterday. A lot of things have had to fall in place to get to where we are today. I know you have a lot of questions, and I promise you they will all get answered. If it feels like I'm being evasive about anything, it's because I'm not going to tell you any bullshit. I'm not going to tell you the wrong answer and then be like, oh, sorry, I was given the wrong answer. I'm just the guy at the top. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be straight with you from the very get-go. If I don't know the answer, I will tell you I don't know the answer. If there's a reason why, I'll also tell you that, like I just did. The evaluation of the company. I can tell you some things. I can tell you that Mr. Mars has put between $300 and $400 million of his personal wealth into the company as a primary investor, the primary investor. There will be some partnerships. Part of those partnerships were with the municipality. So the government of Emerald City will also be a stakeholder. Beyond that, I can't answer your question just yet, but we'll get there. We'll get there. As far as you having 10% each, that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. I hope that's not a deal breaker because you're just not going to get that much. I've got 1.75 points laid out for each one of you, and that's fucking generous as hell.
Well,
You're going to get profit sharing.
I appreciate the comment about it being generous as hell, but the reality is the organization doesn't exist without the 6 of us.
Oh, well, Strike Team 6 doesn't exist without you. As Max told you, there will be others, and I've already got another full team that I am about ready to have conversations with. Now that you're here, I understand that Max has
We
agreed
should
to
be treated.
have you review dossiers before final decisions are made. So I've got my team putting those things together for you. I wasn't planning on it until last night when he called me and told me this was a thing. He works this way. You'll get very late night, very early morning calls. At first, it feels wonderful that you're in Max's inner circle, and then it's not so fucking wonderful.
I do believe we should be treated equitably with other venture capitalists. So
I don't know what that
might be-
means.
That might mean that we need to have a discussion with Max if you're unable to talk through that.
Well, I didn't say I'm not able to talk through it. I meant that I don't know what your statement means. You're not an investor in this company. You are
And I'm saying
resource.
that we should be treated as an investor in this company.
Why? You're the resource. You are the commodity. Why would we treat you as an investor? We don't need more investment. We have all the investment we need. We plan to make everyone involved with this very wealthy, yourselves included. There isn't going to be a inverted pyramid with you sitting at the top shoveling money down to the bottom. It's not
Again, for me, it's not about the money. For me, it's about the ownership of our own destiny.
Well, you'll see that in your contracts, there are very clear guidelines.
By the way, I just like a little segue here. Whenever somebody says it's not about the money, it's about the money. Anyway, go ahead.
He's like, it's for me. It's for me. Just being straight, it is for me. He says that in your contracts, you will see, I believe, sections 34 and 35 of the contracts cover how you would remove yourself from this situation and the terms in which you control your involvement in the Sentinels. If at any point you want to leave the Sentinels, you may do so. Your active duty and inactive duty is clearly slated in section 34. So if you don't want to leave the group altogether, you just want to go inactive, or there are circumstances that make you inactive. The section 34 covers that.
Mr. Stevens, I don't know much about this, but I do know from my work as a wrestler that we need to have control over our own get up,
TV rights,
and our pictures.
TV
and
rights.
Our personality needs to belong to us, not to this thing. So we can leave. Otherwise, they're still going to own part of us anyway. You can check that. I don't know what this man's section number is, and I don't really care. But I'll leave it up to Mr. Stevens.
Section 34 does cover your mustering out if for some reason you decide to permanently separate ways with the Sentinels and with Mars Tech Corp, it's clearly outlined how you can go about that as well. It is not presumed that if you do so, that you will be forced to or expected to sell your holdings in the company. And at that point, legally, if you were no longer part of the logistics and resources, if you would then want to invest, as you were saying, then you could absolutely be considered an investor and sorry. Let me just turn the volume down.
I feel like our session of the Avengers just turned into The Boys.
I feel like we're like idols.
Well, let's we'll review the documents before we sign them.
Sure. Oh,
And-
he says, I don't expect you, I don't have the expectation that you're going to be putting your pen to paper now, unless you want to. You are certainly able to. These are your copies to take with, and you have a certain amount of allotted time to respond to them. As far as your salaries are concerned, you will see that those are clearly outlined. There's a signing bonus for each one of you as well. I believe your signing bonus is 200,000 or 300,000, as well as your yearly salaries. And they're covered active and inactive. You get paid even when you're inactive. You will draw a reduced salary when you're inactive, but you will always do that. And we are a union. We are a unionized company, so your contracts also have what you'll be paying into your union, what your union will do for you. We actually are the union. So we're trying to create the idea of unionized superheroism, and you will be
So you're
We have a
the
collective
company
bargaining
in-
agreement.
Yeah, say that again.
I was gonna say, we have a collective bargaining agreement then, the
Exactly.
superhero CBA. I love this.
Exactly.
Except that the collective bargaining agreement is through the company that we're supposed to be working for. There's definitely some conflict of interest there.
Well, a little bit.
Agreed.
A
Yeah.
little bit, but it has to, he says a little bit, but it has to start somewhere. And also on the flip side of that, there's no one right now is demanding union heroes. No, we'll only be saved by union heroes. You know what I mean? We want to get people into the idea that we are maintaining a higher level. It's not about training, because your superpowers are your powers, but it's a level of decorum. It's a level of behavior. It's an expectation of a certain minimum morality and a willing to save those who aren't as lucky as yourselves, who haven't been given powers. In all transparency, I will tell you that I was also altered in the storm, as some of you were as well. None of my abilities are obvious, so I am able to keep my position and move about the normies without any problems. But I think it's important that you know that I'm one of you.
Except you're not, but okay, that's fair enough. We'll read through the document and
You
go from there.
you can't just leave it at that. So what did you gain in the Silver Storm? What is your power?
I have incredibly tuned hearing now. I can, and it's not that I can hear very far away, it's that I can narrow in on frequency bands that you can't hear. For example, when someone lies, I can hear the increase of their blood pressure.
Interesting.
Can you hear Wi-Fi?
I unfortunately can hear radio frequencies as well.
You can listen to the radio without a radio. That's cool.
I
That's-
imagine
that's-
that was,
Everything that was altered in me was hearing related, hearing and vibration related. I'm very vibration sensitive now as well. I can feel vibration very, very far away from myself.
Cool.
So
No, that's just between you and the missus, but we won't
I
say
will leave
anything more
these
about that.
packets with you. I will leave the contracts and the packets with you. I will be accessible to you via our network and via comms from HQ. There are a few things that I'm going to leave my assistant here to go over with you. Some important things that you'll need to consider, some things you'll need to know. And then I believe he looks at his watch. He says, yes. And then you're expected inside City Hall for an Aegis debriefing. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
No.
He says, he shakes each one of your hands. He says, he makes it clear when he shakes each one of your hands. He says, do you prefer your hero name or do you prefer your real name? How would you like me to address you? Obviously, in public, I will always address you by your alter ego names, unless you are completely in your private appearance. I do know when to be appropriate. I can read the room, but just between us, how would you like me to address you?
It's fine.
Steve is fine.
Phyllis, unless I'm in costume. It sounds like you're aware of the privacy.
I am. And part of that also part of our marketing and PR team, part of their budget is spent towards cleaning, washing your private your secret identities.
I thought I was going to say,
Like
I was
washing
going
our
to say watching
clothes?
private something. What? What? They're going to what? Anyway,
We spend a good
okay.
amount of money around here washing privates. Corporals too, sergeants. Wow,
That's some significant office perks there. Anyway,
that's better than free food at Facebook.
The Sudsy Crush.
Wowzers. Ah, hilarious. So he says, it was a pleasure to meet all of you. I'm looking forward to doing great things with all of you. I'm looking forward to saving this city. I expect to be seeing all of you on TV and on screens every time we turn around. Oh, and as I was saying, he gets up and he's like, I hope you guys like anime because you're going to be in one. And we'll talk about that some more later. Probably a live action movie too. But the anime comes first, the toy line comes second, and then we'll get there. And he walks and his bodyguard walks out with him. His bodyguard never spoke the whole time, but he did pay attention. He wasn't just like staring off into space like I'm an automaton. He was watching all of you. He was watching his boss. He was smiling. He was smirking. He was reacting to the funny things that we'd be saying. He might have even chuckled a couple times when Jose said something funny. So he was definitely personable and close by, but quiet. And as soon as Mr. Paul got up, he immediately left with him. His assistant is kind of a mousy looking redhead with curly hair, glasses, cute, dressed down, completely dressed down. You can tell like under there's probably a really pretty girl, but she dresses down. She dresses kind of frumpy. And she says, I'll make this quick. I don't want to take much of your time. My name is Melissa. And I am your liaison to Mr. Paul. And of course, Mr. Paul is your liaison to the board. Yes. So I just have a few things to cover. She's like, seems really scattered and a little flustered. She's got her little iPad out and she says, so you've acquired a new complication that I want to discuss with you, and that's fame. That complication is fame. You're quite famous locally, and you're about to be like really famous. So we want to talk about some of those things because your newfound celebrity status can be it can be difficult at best and downright debilitating at worst. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. First bullet point, she stammers a little bit. She looks up to like get eye contact, suddenly realizing she's been like face down in it the whole time. She looks up to make sure that you're all
pay attention to this one. She sounds sincere. She's not a crook like the last guy.
She says, well, your faces are everywhere now. And it's very important to maintain your secret IDs, assuming that is the road you are planning to go. There are some forms involving your secret ID or not that you're going to need to fill out so the company can support you in that endeavor. Secret IDs just got much harder to keep. This is the age of the internet. Everyone has a camera phone, and well, sophisticated surveillance has gotten micronized as well as over-the-counter cheap. So you can never relax from this point on. When you're out there in public, you can never ever relax. You have to be on your guard at all times.
Okay.
And then she realizes what she just did. And she's like, back down into her book. She's like, a public ID basically means that you'll have no privacy. You're going to have fans and likely groupies too. An adoring public is very cool.
What's the difference between a fan and a groupie?
Groupies stick with you. Fans just watch from the sidelines.
Oh, I
Who
thought-
knows?
I thought it was a little different.
She
Okay.
looks at Miyu, then she looks back at Jose. She said, are you comfortable with her definition?
I don't really know. Please continue, miss. It's okay.
Okay, I'll continue. As I was saying, an adoring public is very cool, but they don't go away
It's true.
ever.
It's true.
You go outside and you will attract a throng of fans. So take this in consideration. This can be a powerful tool and it can be a huge setback. She says, if you think Shadow was soulless and evil, wait until you deal with paparazzi.
I'm thinking I need a force field. I'm thinking
It's just like push
I'm-
people back.
Yeah, I'm thinking I need a force field. This is a skill I need to acquire.
So that's the general public. Moving on, your newfound fame is likely to rankle some members of the police and local fire departments. After all, they're out there saving lives every day. Then you come along and, well, you handle a single event and now you're hogging all the glory. Now, granted, the single event was the Silver Storm. You know, the single event was the Silver Storm. And I mean, how can you really put these in perspective? She says, I'm bringing it up because I want you to know that, well, boys have very fragile egos. And a lot of the boys who serve as police officers and firefighters, well, they have the fragile egos and you've kind of upstepped them a little bit. So it may lead to trouble with some members of the force. So I want you to just be aware that just because they wear a uniform just because they're firefighters doesn't necessarily mean that they're all in for Sentinel-6. So please keep that in mind as well.
I hope
These
we
people
can-
also have exclusive access to information. And if one of them were to be to be, against us, or to be smitten by something that happened, or holding a grudge, well, their access to information could be dangerous. And of course, Mars Tech will level our full legal weight against them should such an avenue arise. But the problem with these matters and secret identities is once the dime is dropped, or in this case, once the $1.25 is dropped, it's too late. You can't unravel the spiral once it's been thrown. So yes, we can bring retribution. We can bring hell itself down upon whatever person responsible. We can end their career, well, or worse. But it's too late at that point. She says, finally, there's the press. Now, each of you are going to have to be incredibly careful when you're talking to the press. For now, the press love you, all of them. Everybody loves you. No one's got any bad things to say about any of you or us as a group. Now, if you pull back far enough past the corporate structure to Mars Tech, there will always be those that hate Mars Tech and hate everything that Max is doing. And just, some people just don't like a winner.
Haters
Some
gonna
people
hate.
just don't like a winner. They bring about their poison because of other success. The press are our darlings right now. And I say, lean into it. Lean into it. Let them continue with that momentum, but make sure you keep a firm hand on that reins. Don't get sloppy. It'll be bad. And the press can turn on you without mercy or warning. Where once a little-known hero might have gotten the benefit of the doubt in a fight gone expensively wrong, now every bit of collateral damage is fodder for special investigations on the city's defenders. So just as I told you, we will be looking into, as you were briefed, we will be looking into the investigative report on who Sentinel-6 is. There will also be real teams who will be out there trying to dig up every bit of dirt that they possibly can. I see there are two matters here. There's an immigration matter for you, Miyu, that we're in the process of cleaning up.
For Jose?
You mean Jose?
No, Miyu, yeah. Yeah.
Dual
And
citizenship.
there's something strange with your passport. We're looking into it. We're making sure it's clean.
Okay.
Apparently your parents got creative when they were filling out forms originally for your passport. So we're on it. And
Okay.
and Jose, your matters are gone. Your status in this country is unchallenged now, sir.
So I got my green card, is what you're saying.
No, sir. You are a citizen.
A citizen?
Paperwork's in the mail.
Okay.
You've been fast-tracked on a Mars Tech corporate exchange program.
Okay. Well, I guess
Congratulations.
that's a good thing. Now I get to pay American tax no matter where I go.
You have to maintain your employment with Mars Tech Industries for at least 24 months to secure your citizenship deal. That doesn't necessarily mean you're locked into your service at Sentinel. It just means that if you do decide to switch around, you'll just have to talk to Max to make sure he's got a place for you somewhere else. We'll make sure you get your 24 months in.
I'll kind of look over at Mr. Stevens and I'll sit down.
There's
Go back to my phone.
always a catch.
She says, again, my warning about the media is no problem at this point. These are the early days. And as I said, you are the city's darlings right now. You are producing incredible ratings for all of them right now. And as that continues,
We haven't done anything.
It's the media. They spin nothing into everything.
Jose, I'd like you to go home tonight and I'd like you to turn on the TV, any channel. Any channel. I dare you to watch for a half an hour before you find Sentinel 6 coverage, personal coverage about you, about one of your other friends. We've been very busy, sir.
Sounds like making up stories. Okay. Oh, I trust your word, Missy. That's fine.
Not making up stories, my friend. It's called controlling the narrative.
Which is making up stories.
That sounds like making up stories with some bigger words, but okay, fair enough.
Well, those bigger wordsmiths are the names on all of our paychecks. So we will smile, we will nod, and we will give them a thank you very much, sir. She puts her things away. As she gave her briefing, she went from fucking shy and mousy to pretty confident towards the end. She was like all business, like feeling good about herself, put her stuff in her briefcase, got her stuff together. She hands each one of you a business card, which is also chipped. So if you have a device that you can kind of transfer it to, she gives you each one of you one of her cards, and she says, "I am at your disposal 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There will be times when Mr. Mars will be unavailable. There will be times when Mr. Paul is unavailable. I will always be unavailable so long as I am drawing breath." Or at least that's how Mr. Paul likes to say it. She
That's a lot of
shrugs.
work, girl.
She says, "Good day, my friends." Oh, she goes, "I nearly forgot. You're going to go through those doors right there. You're going to meet with a bailiff who's going to take you to a room where you're going to meet with the Aegis agents."
Thank you.
No problem. I'm going to let you talk amongst yourselves for a little bit and leave you to it. And when you're ready, you can just go through those doors right there. And on that, I'm going to take a quick bio break. I'll be right back.
Who knew being a superhero was such a pain in the ass?
Okay, so I take just a moment, and it looks like I am not paying attention for a quick second, and I go into a time bubble, and I create the legal documents that I think that we should be using. So a round or two later, I snap out of it, and I've got documents for us to review.
That's really cool, but it's really difficult to bill for.
It's a good
No,
thing he's
I
not
know.
billing us.
Yeah,
I
luckily I'm
can't, I
not
can't
doing-
afford Steve's rates.
Nor could I.
I've got
Yeah.
YouTube money, okay? It's not like top tier YouTube money, like mid tier YouTube money.
Well, that's one of the things I think that we also need to stipulate. Like they're going to take your money, right? You can't own your own YouTube channel. You can't monetize that if that's the identity that they now have ownership of.
Mr.
Mm.
Stevens, I'm getting 300 grand up front, sounds like to me. So I'm fairly patient today.
Yeah, I wonder about, I mean, it all sounds like, it really reminds me of idol stuff. It's like, you know, what you get the name, you get be part of the group, and then I mean, if you go to do something else, then okay, but you're doing something else, you know, you're not part of the group anymore. So I don't know. I mean, I've never done anything like this. So
Well, I'll send those documents off to you.
okay,
Tonight.
Excuse me.
I'll look at them. I mean, I want to, my face and my style and my history is kind of all I've got. So I definitely want that to still be mine.
Phillips
But
looks cool.
that
I would totally fucking crawl up on Crow. She's hot.
Yeah.
To be totally sexist and to
Yeah. Phyllis is
objectify your
hot.
character, I would totally hop on her.
Yeah,
I
I was
mean,
wondering what that other guy, the one that was hitting on Miyu. I mean, you've got two hot chicks.
It's trouble.
Yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
it was largely because she was up in the air and she's
Also
got
not a
that.
bear. I
Yeah,
wasn't a
you
bear.
were a bear, and she was up in the air, floating in the air, looking like hot, cute anime hentai girl. And he's like, "Hey, mama, what's that in?
Yeah.
What's up? What's up?"
I attract a lot of attention because I have attractive 2 on the character sheet.
Yeah, I have attractive also.
Yeah. It's media
So
personality stuff, you know.
when you're
I
done,
overlooked that box.
You took the opposite.
when you're done talking amongst yourselves and getting your fill of the cucumber sandwiches and
Love cucumber
And,
sandwiches. So
and
good.
lemonade that was left here.
Lemonade. They don't. The bread's never quite as good as the really fluffy, soft stuff, but you know.
You can make your way up the stairs and through the doors whenever you're ready to do so.
I'm curious to see what Aegis is all about. I mean, I've heard of them, but I don't know anything about them really. So
Mhm.
Well, I assume that's Shield, so they're the serious guys.
yeah, they're right. They're like the quasi-military / superhero working with the government kind of people. But that's all I know. So I'm really curious to see what they're like. If they're like super serious military people, or if they're not that.
Yeah, I'm curious also.
So yeah, is there anything else that we need to like figure out before we talk to them? Between us?
You tell me.
I can't think of anything.
Anything that you need to, anything that needs to be spoken, or it sounds like all of you are doing secret IDs with the exception of Mia.
Yeah, I'll be Jane Smith. I just want a fake ID that says Jane Smith. Track it back to that. Good luck Googling Jane Smith.
Well, no. It's not that. It's that your identification is secret. They're not going to create for you a fluff identity.
Okay.
It's just that there's a clear separation between Crow and Phyllis. Your name is never associated with the two. We don't want people to see you going from you to bear. You know, you want to be
Right.
costume to costume. Like, it's about keeping your identity a secret, not necessarily having a character to play.
Okay.
The character you're playing is your superhero identity. So Crow is the identity that you're playing.
True. I just need to make sure that anytime I shapeshift, I do it out of sight of cameras, out of sight of the media, any
Right.
media
Unless you're
followers
already costumed up. Right.
Right.
And if
Rob,
so here's
Rob.
something I'll say. If we're in a situation, if we're together and we're in a situation where like you can't get into costume real quick or whatever, it's like if that's a problem. I mean, I know Steve won't ever have that issue, but like if that's a problem for any of the rest of us, like I can always just make the suit, like I put it on you. It won't be theirs, it'll be a copy, it'll be whatever I've made, but it can happen instantaneously, and then at least we've got a thing. And it's got the added bonus that if you're like falling or something, I can move the stuff I've made, so I could like maybe make you not fall or something like that. So there's and then also I can jump next to you if I have a thing, even if like Steve hasn't had the chance to give the teleporting around, I could still get next to you and maybe help with something if I'm needed to.
It's just so awesome.
So
Hey, fashion emergency.
yeah. So just so you know, I didn't want to forget to say that because I feel like it's something that could come up if we're caught in a bathhouse or something, and
Caught in a bathhouse? What if we want to be in a bathhouse?
Hey,
When am I
hey.
gonna be in a
Come on.
bathhouse?
How else are the privates
I don't
gonna get
know.
cleaned?
This is a very 1980s series now. We're going back in time. You get caught in bathhouses. That's
I'm
all.
just coming up.
How else are the privates gonna get cleaned?
Yeah. They're
By the
spending a lot
corporals.
of money on.
Hey, I thought we
cleaning
had
the
people for
privates.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. The rest of bathhouse. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It comes full circle. All right. So
Or-
when you're ready, you go up the doors, up the stairs, through the doors. Just inside the hall, there is a screening, metal detector, two-way metal detector kind of thing, with a couple of deputies,
I'm
a couple
clean.
of sheriff's deputies standing there.
My only
Um,
medal is my phone.
They have you step through, and one of them looks over at you and he goes, oh, hi, and he gives a little wave. He goes, hi there,
Hi.
I'm Barry. I'm
Nice to
Barry.
meet
I'm
you,
gonna
Barry.
take you to meet with agents Wynn and agents McKenzie today. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay,
Mm.
so I'm not going to give you the normal spiel that I would about weapons and behavior and such, because y'all are superheroes. I don't need to tell you how to behave. So please just follow. And I'm sorry to burn your time. Please just follow me. So he leads you into a side door. He pulls his little key ring with his zipper. Zip. He got his little spring-loaded thing with the chain, and he opens up the door. And key goes right back to his waist, and he opens up the door. And this is just before the metal detectors. So he's taking you before that, takes you into a side hallway down about 10, 15 feet. You pass a bunch of looking, all the doors look exactly the same here. There's like a little plastic tag on right next to the door on the frame with a number. It's usually a letter and a number like A5, B7, D14. None of this makes any sense. There's no
It's
rhyme or
not in
reason to it.
order. It's just
No rhyme or
like
reason to it.
random.
On both sides, and the doors are solid metal, barely painted well. You can see lots of kicks and scuffs and years of just use and abuse. 15 feet down the hall, turns to the left, and as soon as you turn to the left, the first two doors that you come to, they're both open. On your left, you see it looks like a fairly decent interrogation room, not the kind like you would beat a suspect up in with the
The
nice
single light
doors and the
hanging.
drain at the bottom and the hose. Not that kind of a interrogation room. This one's a little bit nicer. There's actually I wouldn't say like a boardroom table, but there's a nice like conference table with chairs around it. Not fancy roller like office chairs, but still comfy chairs around it. The far wall, as soon as you're looking in, the far wall you can see has a full-length mirror on the wall. And there's curtains drawn in front of it, but they're not completely drawn. So you can see the curtains in the middle, and there's a strip of the mirror poking through. And you can see the light in the room behind the mirror on. So you can see through the one-way mirror because it's not dark on the other side and there's a light on. So you can kind of see that what's going on here, right? That room is relatively empty. On the opposite side, that's to your left. On the right, as you turn the corner, is basically a carbon copy. You see an exact carbon copy, same table, same chairs configuration, mirror, curtains completely open, dark, no light on the backside, so you can't see that it's a one-way mirror, but you can assume they're the same, right? And there are two individuals sitting at the table, and they are black suits, white shirts, black tie, black sunglasses.
MIB. All right then. Okay.
Yes.
This is just like a movie. It's so cool.
Careful. They may have one of those. They may have one of those flashy things.
Yes. Oh,
So
good.
Agent Wynn finally looks up and he says, You've arrived. And he looks at his watch. And the other one, Mackenzie, the older one, he looks up and he kind of gives you a half scowl, half sarcastic kind of, who gives a fuck kind of look, like I'm not impressed, you know.
It's a facade. He loves us.
And the sheriff says, right in here, Agent Wynn, Agent Mackenzie, they just both look up, and Wynn, the younger of the two, he kind of gives them finger guns to the sheriff, like, hey, how you doing? Give him finger guns. And Mackenzie's like, fuck off. So
this is the real good cop, bad cop.
So the sheriff lets you in. The deputy lets you in.
Okay.
You close the door. He closes the door behind
Thank
you.
you.
There's plenty of places to sit down.
I'll plop into a seat.
You see on the table the golden eagle, the bald eagle design of the Aegis crest. It says District 5 in the middle of between the wings and the legs. It's holding a bushel of arrows in one foot, in one claw, and it's holding a sprig of some kind of tree with berries.
Arrows at the ready, olive branch extended. Okay, off we go.
3 stars above the head, 3 stars below the head. Okay. And around the crest, it says American Elite Government Intervention Service.
Some super secret stuff here.
Super secret.
So they're potential clients.
So they wait for you to sit down.
Yeah, I immediately plop into a seat. Flump.
The younger of the two begins talking. He says, I'm Agent Wynn. This is Agent Mackenzie. We are special operations agents for Aegis. We've been assigned initially to Strike Team 6. So we're going to be your contacts, your liaisons. Mackenzie goes, your babysitters.
Wah.
And he's like, he's like, don't listen to Grumpy. He woke up on the he woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and he's like 8 Ball, give me a fucking break here.
He's got
He's like,
if he's got 7 weeks to go before he retires, I don't think he's living until next scenario. Anyway, we'll see.
Don't kill him off just yet. He's got gumption.
he says, we're here just to ask some questions. It's not a formal, this isn't like a formal inquiry or anything. I've just got some questions to ask, so we can like get a really good understanding of where we're going from here. And Mackenzie looks up at you and he goes, Wynn, if you will. He looks at you, he says, you're not a thing until Aegis says you're a thing. They're already talking about how it's the official this and it's the official that. The mayor's talking about sanctioning. He's let me tell you that. None of that shit has been secured yet. And Wynn goes, I was gonna get to that. He's like, yeah, priorities, kid, priorities.
At least this guy's realistic. The rest of these assholes, they're acting like we saved the world.
He turns back to you all and he says, look, I'm not saying it's not gonna happen. I'm saying it hasn't happened yet. And frankly, if Aegis doesn't sign off on this Sentinel experience, this Sentinel experiment, rather, is what I meant to say, it's not going to happen at all. And when Wynn goes, old man, Geritol. He goes,
I don't know about that. I think you'll have to take that up with Mr. Mars. He's above everybody's pay grade here, as I can tell. But I appreciate what you're telling me.
Yeah. So what happens when he doesn't?
The federal government can make Mars Tech's life very, very difficult. Do they want that? Of course not. We're allies. I'm merely saying that we all gotta, unlike Mars, who just pulls out his checkbook and streamlines everything that he wants, there are processes and methods and procedures that need to be followed in order for the federal government to step behind Mr. Mars. That's all I'm saying. And Wynn's like looking at him the whole time with his mouth open. He finally whips his glasses off and he's like, old man. Mackenzie looks at him and he goes, 8-ball. Calm down. Turns back to you guys. He says, as I was saying, informal questions. We all just need to, let's just take it down a minute.
We just want to help people and work with the government to help people, because the government helps people too. I think that we'll all be able to get through this.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
We just
okay.
want to know some. Aegis needs to know some facts so that we, as an entity, can better support you and understand what comes next. So let me begin, and please stop me at any point with any of the questions that we're reviewing, any of the things that we're talking about. Please, by all means, if we need to go over anything with more detail, for purposes of disclosure and privacy and such, I want to let you know that there are high-level Aegis administrators who are watching in real time.
I look for cameras.
Like right now?
Yeah, like the whole time.
I wave at the.
But
at
before I
the
start
mirror.
asking you questions,
What
I
you
have to legally tell you that.
So,
When
so
you
what
say
happens go ahead.
when you say all the time, do you mean like when we leave, you're still watching us?
No. I mean, since you entered the room and
Oh, yeah, okay.
and-
Sorry. Please go
Are
ahead,
they
sir.
behind
I
the
apologize.
two-way mirror? Hi.
I am not at liberty to disclose that information.
I wave
to
at the
you.
mirror. Hi. If I'm just waving at an empty mirror, that's okay too.
Yeah, sure. He says,
Look,
so like I said,
you see
he pulls
yourself
out his
coming
little
back.
tablet. He goes, I'm sorry, Steve. What did you have to say?
Oh, I was going to say that Mio's looking at an empty mirror. She still sees herself looking back, so she's
Yeah.
fine doing that.
It's a win-win situation, really.
My question for the Aegis agents, though, was what happens if we don't pass your background or your review checks?
I have the answer to that, Mr. Stevens. Even I know that one.
Oh, I have your
Nothing-
answer too.
Nothing
not us.
happens.
It's not
Am I
us who
right?
decides. It's not us who decides. Cranky Pants here was trying to imply through his verbal
Verbal?
undertones, and he goes, I'll give you some fucking verbal undertones. He says he was trying to imply that maybe his set was swinging a little bit more than he ought to be. It's not up to us. We're only here to talk to you and find out these things. There are
presumably
others. There are others in the process who are evaluating you at this time. That's not us.
Presumably somebody else is making the evaluation, and
That's correct.
is going to give us the stamp of approval or the not of approval.
That's
so
also
not
correct.
approved. So what happens if they don't give us the approval? I want to understand what that outcome looks like.
I can't actually say. I think what at that point you would probably need to regroup with your people and find out. I do know this. It will not be myself or Mackenzie who would be working with you beyond that point. We're only assigned to you up until the time that you aren't a thing anymore. If you're a thing, then we're your guys. And Mackenzie's like, I'm not your guy.
I throw a really cool birthday party.
And he's like, we're your guys. We're your guys. We're
Thanks,
your
Mackenzie,
guys."
for being our guy.
And he says, what did I tell you about professionalism? He goes, what did I tell you about being a human?
Ooh.
Okay. What are your questions?
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I like them
You
both.
guys don't have one of those flashy things, right?
Not yet.
No, the lights are pretty stable here. There's been no flickering at all. It's been good.
Okay, good. Just making sure that in case things, right, sorry.
So, many of these questions can be resolved with a single answer, and you're welcome to choose who makes that answer. Some of my questions, like my first one, are going to require answers from all of you. My first question, can you please give us an overview of your power in as much as you're familiar with them? And maybe we can just go in order with S1 and go from there.
Yeah, I can move really fast.
Okay. Super speed. All right.
And I look to number 2.
That's all you're going to disclose at this time?
I think that's all that's pertinent.
Pertinent. Well, does that fulfill the degree of the question? The parameters of the question were, as you are familiar with your powers, can you give me an overview of them? If you're familiar with other powers, I would appreciate your transparency at this time. And I also want to say that this isn't getting shared outside of Aegis. This goes into the Aegis database and no further. So your security and your privacy are paramount to us.
I understand that. Yeah, that's all I'll disclose at this time.
Okay. Next, number 2.
I can make stuff appear that wasn't there before. And it's hard to tell that it wasn't there before.
So you're a transmogrifier.
I don't know all your classifications and stuff. I can
You make things from no things. You make things out of nothing.
I make like I pick up the sandwich off the table. This it wasn't there, but now I've got it, and nobody really seems to ever notice it wasn't there. It was just kind of there, and then I can make them gone.
I understand.
And
anything else?
I can make like little illusions, like little not really big stuff. I'm working on that.
2-dimensional or holographic illusions?
Like full experiences. Like smell and touch and taste. And
oh, I see. He kind of looks up at you. Wen looks up at you and he goes, I see. Yeah. And he makes a note there and he's like, so are your illusions, are they internal kind of brain creations, or are you actually making the illusions? Are they perceivable by just one target or multiple targets?
No, everybody sees them.
Oh, I see. That's fantastic. Anything else?
I can like if there's something that I made, I can appear next to it if I want to.
And I see that you're the only one of the team that is not opting for a secret identity.
Yeah.
Is your family living? And if so, have they chosen to go into witness protection?
They're alive, and I haven't really talked to them about it yet. I
see. They kind of look at each other. And then he looks back at you. He goes, okay, I think that's sufficient. Is that everything?
I think so.
Impressive. S3.
You guys have seen the bear? The bear, clearly I'm able to shapeshift into a bear. This is not news.
Shannon, so shape-shifting, and are you limited to just your bear form, or can you turn into anything?
So I am kind of experimenting with my ability to shapeshift into anything from the natural world, as well as summoning
He's writing
anything
this
from the
down.
natural world. So primarily things from nature, but within my culture, we also believe in supernatural beings, and looking at perhaps being able to summon a gosh, I've just blanked out on the word. Being able to shapeshift, I'm sorry, not shapeshift, being able to summon white walkers and supernatural beings as well.
Okay.
Creatures from my own background.
Yes. Okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you, 3. Let's see, Luchador S4.
Pretty straightforward. I'm very, very strong, and I'm hard to hurt. It's cold, it's hot, high pressure, doesn't matter. I'm a trained wrestler. That's not all for the show. Means I can put you in a headlock, put my hand between your legs, rip your dick off and put it in your mouth. There's not a damn thing you can do about it.
Well, that's absolutely frightening. And can I
Oh,
ask you-
one other thing. When if I touch peanuts or other like acorns, they can turn into Mr. Steve. He said it was fissile material. I'm just kidding. I can't. I'm just a strong man with thick skin, sir. That's all I do. I make tacos. I'll be straight.
Win says,
The biggest thing is the tacos, though.
Win says,
Dual
Win says,
superpower.
so everything before rip dick off is, I should omit that.
No,
That was the joke part. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He makes a note of that. He goes,
These government people have no
he
sense
goes,
of
okay,
humor.
fair. And let's see, S5. And Jordan says, I can hear people's thoughts, and I can allow other people to hear each other's thoughts. And he's like, oh, like telepathy. And he's like, yeah, whatever you want to call it. Like, okay. And is that it?
He flips his hair.
And he's like, well, I can also do psychic blast attacks. He's like, oh, impressive. Anything else? It's like, no, man, leave me alone.
Jordan hasn't gotten enough coffee today.
Win is like, okay, and I see there isn't actually an S6. It's very amusing. We promise we'll keep that within our security clearances as well. All right, moving on to the next question. How long have you been operating as heroes?
Can
That's
you clarify
basically-
that?
That's
Officially?
basically a before or after Silver Storm kind of question is what they're looking for. Before the storm, after the storm. So BS, AS.
AS.
Yes.
AS.
Definitely BS.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been working before the storm.
And Jose?
6.5 years.
All right. So everybody except for Jordan, who wasn't doing it before, and Phyllis, who wasn't doing it before. All right. What were you doing on the day of the Silver Storm that you were able to get there so quickly?
We were having coffee and getting tacos.
Yeah,
I was
work
making the tacos.
I worked at the coffee shop.
I was having coffee.
Not to mention the
Okay, you do all
teleporting
the
and the
time.
super speed and the flying.
Well, we're not going to mention that.
I mean, we were there, and then we were there.
that leads him to his next question. Did any of you know each other before joining the Sentinels?
I knew Mr. Stevens. He was a customer of my truck.
I think
I
we
knew
all each
Jose.
other-
Yeah, she was a customer too.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Not everybody knew everybody before the storm, but everybody knew somebody.
Mhm.
And then when the storm happened, you all kind of
Who
kind
worked
of
at the
dealt with
coffee
that
shop?
point.
I worked at me and Jordan worked at a coffee shop.
That's right. Yeah. And that's the coffee shop that the truck parked out right out in front of.
Yeah.
So they got a lot of
Yeah.
crossover business.
Yeah, they're all gonna be really happy back in Washington. We got a bunch of guys working at a taco truck who are now gonna run around and beat shit up
We could
at public expense.
if the Sentinel 6 doesn't work out, we can always go with like taco time. And we,
Taco
could-
themed
At least
costumes.
we'll own that motherfucking franchise, so that's worthwhile.
and we can all base it inside the size of a taco truck. That could be our
It'd be like our mystery
local
van.
headquarters.
It's bigger on the inside.
A
than
mystery van.
Yeah.
I like that. We could do the whole, yeah, we can do the theme. We could like the colors and stuff. And we could really freak people out. We can get like that Ghostbusters hearse and bring that by too. When you see them together, you're fucked. Anyway, we should do that.
Yeah. If this doesn't work out, we've got
This doesn't work out. That'll be yeah.
Did any of you know Maximilian Mars previous to your encounters with the FOE and the Freedom League at Mars Tech?
Absolutely not.
I don't think I know Mr. Mars right now. At least I'm not going to pretend that I do. And if you do, my guess is you're pretending you just don't know it.
I've
That's
known
pretty
of him.
Yeah, I've heard the name, but who hasn't?
Understood. Makes his note, is it? Do you feel like your powers are dangerous to others in any way other than when you use them on someone specifically?
So like unintended
Collateral, unintended,
No.
aura effects that could hurt people, super strength, take down a building and hurt innocent bystanders. Like the only one that I can really think of it off the top of my head would be like Jose could do a big strength kind of thing that could cascade and go wrong.
When it first started more than 6.5 years ago, that was a problem for the first month or so, but it's under control now. No,
Yeah.
it's all good.
Miyu, you probably have some circumstances where you have some powers that could hurt people.
I'd rather not talk about it.
I mean,
here.
if I
You're like, no. What do you mean, no? Like, no, it can't happen? Like, no, I don't want to talk about it. No. Oh.
if I run fast enough, I can cause sonic booms that could potentially damage
Nesting areas for small turtles.
Understood. And I'm guessing, Miyu, that your circumstances would probably be some kind of altered perception based, where someone might get hurt as a result of their altered perception that you may be creating.
That sounds like more drug warrior nonsense to me.
Well, I mean, I don't this do I have to talk about it now?
No. I mean, you can leave it at that, and you know, it can be addressed at a later time, I'm sure.
I'd prefer that. if it's
Okay, fine.
I'm sure the government will forget.
So
I could
the
have,
next question is also optional, but only because we know your circumstances and your press releases and your public images and such. So taking that into consideration, it's optional because you may have time to prepare your answer if you're not ready to answer now, but eventually it will need to be answered. So it's not optional, like you could just never answer. You know what I mean? It's like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where did you get your powers? Or if you're not comfortable revealing that, what's your origin? Now, like I was saying, we know that this may be coming later, or it may be coming now. It may be getting packaged. Certainly, it may be Mars Tech themselves that answer for us. But if you'd like to answer now, you certainly can. It's entirely optional under the conditions that I stated.
We'll just
I
say the
was-
Silver Storm.
The storm brought your powers.
We'll say that. That
Okay.
That
Oh, you'll
works.
all say that.
No,
Well, that wouldn't jive with some of the answers some of you have already said I've been heroing for a while. So
yeah,
your powers
think-
couldn't have come from the storm.
I think I was born with them.
Okay.
I was exposed to an experimental drug that was out of date and had gone bad. So
Sorry.
take it up with the manufacturer.
Jordan and Phyllis were both stormers. They both got their powers from the Silver Storm.
Yeah.
For the most part.
And Steve, what did you say?
I said that, well, I didn't answer the question yet, but I said that in my early 30s, there was a high stress situation and they manifested.
Okay. And that also answers my next question. How long have you had your powers and how experienced are you with them? If you have anything to add along the lines of experience and control, you can certainly make an addendum to that now. I pretty much have your answer, but if you'd like to clarify in any manner, in any way, you certainly can.
So I would say that I had been having dreams of being able to shapeshift, but in terms of being able to control them and kind of making them a bit more tangible for me, that would be the Silver Storm.
I see. So you're not saying that you have some kind of lucidity to your dreams or some kind of dream power. That's Miyu who does the dream powers, right? You're just
Yes.
mentioning that because you dreamt about them as a catalyst before it actually started happening.
Exactly.
Thank you
Exactly.
very much. I appreciate you sharing that extra information. All right. I only have a few more questions. There's not a lot left. Why did you decide to become pardon the term, vigilante instead of joining a government agency or program directly? Their words, not mine, guys. I would.
Were-
And Mackenzie goes, just answer the damn question.
Are there options to join directly?
Like you
Um,
mean before setting up the super group, right?
Correct.
You never asked me, sir.
So for the three of you who indicated that you had been heroing beforehand, before the storm at least, none of you had the inclination or the option of joining up with a government agency.
Oh, I had the inclination, but you never asked me, and I didn't think that I'd be welcome. So
He looks at you. He goes,
I have issues trusting government organizations.
plus your citizenship status until recently just changed, so that would probably
yeah,
be the
I didn't.
case for you.
I didn't think I was welcome. Exactly. And to be honest, I was kind of looking for ice, behind every.
And none of you have served in the military.
Absolutely not.
My brother's in the military,
I've spent time in the military.
not here though.
Okay.
It's been
No,
a
sir.
long
It's really embarrassing. I never thought of it. It didn't occur to me to join up with a group. I just kind of thought I'd help out a little bit.
Do any of you hold advanced degrees of any kind, such as engineering or the like?
I've got a computer sciences bachelor's.
Oh. Okay.
I'm-
Anyone else?
I'm engineering and law and medical.
That was my last question.
What are you, 68 years old? Just got out of school?
Jack of all
I'm
trades.
in college for clothing
Oh,
design.
sorry, I forgot you
don't
just-
have
You just check right out. You just go study, go to class, spend time in, 20,000 years ago, come back the next day. You get out. You could have done all those courses at the same time. That's cool.
Do any of you, other than obviously Steve, you've already answered this. Do any of the rest of you have first aid training?
Yes.
Do you? That's good.
Yeah, just random certificates that you collect over the years. Might need to re-up my Green Cross certification.
No.
And Wynn says, you know, that's all the questions that I have. Mackenzie steps in. He says, we'd like you heroes to see that we are your partners and that we're here to work together with you, not as inconveniences and or adversaries. We want the same thing, after all, for the people of Emerald City and America to be and feel safe. Any questions?
I feel safer already.
If you need something from us, what's the proper channels and protocol for you to request our assistance?
I understand that there is a node to node connection being established between Aegis and Sentinel HQ. Over time, you will probably get issued our handheld communicators as well, if you need to talk directly on our frequencies.
If we get approved, right, Mr. McKenzie?
He's like, well, of course.
And how do you know how payment works? Like how do you pay for our services?
He does. I don't think
Payment?
we get paid by Mr. Mars.
We're the government, sir. We don't pay you.
Well, not
Say that again.
In fact, truth be told, it's Emerald City Sentinel Industries that are paying the government, at least initially.
So there's no.
It takes a lot of well, it takes a lot of investments to get more than a few senators to get behind something. It takes a little bit of grease on those wheels.
Yeah, so there's no assumption then that if you were in have any emergencies or need any assistance that we would be there to assist you. Is that right?
There will be a system of alerts, communiques, and alarms established.
And what's our responsibility for responding to those?
Your responsibility. Well, I suppose as an independent, you have limited responsibility, although
I mean, private contractors.
why would the government want to stay in connection with you if you didn't respond to such things?
Right. I mean, but private contractors in wartime, I mean, there's protocols for that, and the company is paid by the government to execute those services.
I'll look at the older one in the eye and say, if you need something, you call me. I'll do it.
Perhaps you should have Mars Tech Legal take it up with our folks.
Okay.
Not really my department.
Yeah, I was just curious if there was established protocols. That's fine. I'll talk.
Not yet. Wynn says, not yet, man. We're making all this stuff up as we go along. And Mackenzie's like, no, we're not. Would you? Professionalism, for fuck's sakes. And then Mackenzie says, that is all. That is all. That's all the time of yours that we needed. Any other questions?
Are there options? Are there options to join Aegis directly?
For you?
Yeah.
Let me inquire. My initial reaction would be no fucking way. But let me inquire for you.
Okay.
All right, and scene. So each one of you can take a hero point for the last scene, for the role play in the last scene. In addition, you can add that to the hero points that you already had amassed or have not quite sold just yet.
There's a cap that they don't like carry over past a certain point, right? Or
That's
do they
Pathfinder
refresh every
2.
game?
I don't know that
No,
Mutants and
there doesn't
Masterminds
appear
has
to
that.
be. There
Huh?
doesn't appear to be any.
Really? They don't refresh
Yeah.
or anything?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you're drawing from Pathfinder 2 memories there, because I
Okay.
did the same thing. I'm like, you can't have more than 3. On the
Right.
4th session, they roll over to 1. I'm like, no, wrong game.
Yeah.
No, wrong game.
Okay.
Wrong game. So yeah, I would say that if your number of hero points is getting too high, you're either playing like a fucking stud,
Right.
or you're not spending
Not spending them
ever.
enough. Yeah, it's
right?
supposed to be used.
So they are supposed to be absorbed as they are earned. But that was a very great role playing scene, and I'm quite happy with that.
I like our agents. I think they'll do us well.
Oh, I think
So-
they're gonna screw us. That's okay.
It's because you don't trust the government.
We
No, I trust-
find
I trust the
ourselves.
government. I just trust the old guy. That's all.
Oh, I think he's good underneath his mean exterior.
I think he's gonna
Pushes
hit us
the
with the
best.
flashy thing as soon as he can.
Absolutely, he is.
Aw.
All right, so you find yourselves back at Sentinel HQ. It is, as he said, the penthouse of multi levels, and the penthouse of the top of a building in downtown. I will expand your knowledge and access of those plans soon. You'll start to have some better understanding of the layout of the place and how it's looking and such. For now, know that HQ is coming along. They have built a structure separate from the rest of the building, in that at one point the tower had elevator service to the roof. When they started building Emerald Tower HQ, they basically made the top 4 floors completely independent of the other building, and you can't actually get into them from the other building, just short of climbing up the outside of the fucking building. It has its own express elevator and service elevator access that only takes you to the HQ. So that's the first part, and I'll give you let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. You actually have the top 5 floors. And there's some floor plans available that I can make out for those as well. As of right now, all of the living structures, all the living dwellings, there's lots of quarters. There's lots of space in rooms. Personal quarters are on the same level as the locker room, the gym, the pool, the dining area, your theater, like all the cool stuff where you always want to be is in that central area. That's on the 2nd floor. The bottom floor is kind of like computer equipment, the offices, the infirmary, reception area, your elevators, your library, your communication center, all your businessy kind of stuff. Your 3rd floor is your defense systems and environmental systems. Your 4th floor is a training room, which is actually covers the 4th and 5th. So it's a large enough, tall enough space
Wow.
that it can be filled into both of those. Also on the 4th floor are your laboratories and your workshops. So when you're building stuff and your makers and things, engineering and stuff will happen there. Finally, the 5th floor will have the upper portion of the training room that I just discussed, as well as locker space and access to that upper. So you can enter into the training room high into it. If you want to jump down, fly into it, you can also enter it from the bottom, right? So it gives you options. And then the rest of the 5th floor is all a hangar, which gives you air and flight access to the HQ.
It is weird how quickly it feels like we're moving up in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very interesting point. I would like for you to make for me, please, an insight check, Miyu.
All right. That would be
Since you brought this up, let's take a look at it.
insight.
Yeah.
That would be a 19.
All right. So you remember that Mr. Paul had mentioned to you that much of what was happening had transpired in the last 72 hours.
A whole lot of work for 72 hours.
And you're looking around. Yeah, you're looking around and you're looking at tens of millions of dollars worth of construction. And quite frankly, you don't know anything about construction, but it's very hard to believe that anything of this scope could have possibly come about in 3 days. It just doesn't seem physically feasible.
Right. They must have already had
Recycled this.
He could have repurposed it, but other than that,
maybe he was planning for a really long time to have superheroes, and so he had this built up.
maybe he was planning that he could get superheroes because he knew that there'd be a silver storm.
It was just the top 5 floors of the building, right? Not the entire building.
Mhm.
It's the top 5 floors of the building. Now, incidentally, if you did a quick Zillow search, you would see that Mars Tech or one of Mars Tech's subsidiaries owns the building.
Of course.
No big surprise there.
Right.
That just means you have more control, not less.
Right.
So that's going on. Your computer system, your node is not online. You have a secure network. You have a connection to the outside internet. Your node is not online yet. So you do have some resources, Steve and et al. You all have access to the internet. You all have Wi-Fi that you can connect your local devices to. It's all probably the most secure connection that you have access to in your world, but it's not the node yet that we were talking about. Okay.
So we can stream torrents, but we shouldn't.
Each person's experience in the interwebs is their own to choose and navigate.
Okay, it's all our own personal.
We are neither making or setting example here at Azimuth Busters, and understand this is a role play simulation. We're not suggesting that anyone makes any crimes or yeah. So
この番組はフィクションです。
what she said. So yeah. So the network is up. You have computers. You have access to the internet. You can print things. You have a nice little office environment kind of thing going on that is secure within itself, just short of the connection to the outside world, because the outside world always makes an insecure connection. And you have one of those, but it's as secure as it can be. Most of the big systems, your defensive systems, are still offline. Your hangar has no vehicles in it. Your training room is offline. Right now, what they've been doing is they've been installing the display or the illuminator panels, as they are referred to in Mars Tech talk. They're basically holographic image plates, and it's a big modular system where they lock a bunch of hexagons of these things together, and it creates the whole environment and yada yada yada.
I'd like to learn how the system is controlled.
What system?
The danger room system.
Sure, just as soon as it's uploaded. Just as soon as it's uploaded, there's like full training manuals, and it's all, all of that tutorial kind of stuff is completely at your disposal once it's online.
Okay, so I won't be able to read documentation on it beforehand?
You can look at early design docs and theorem of the science behind it. If you're curious about that, you can do a little bit of homework, but actually the manual, there is no manual for this thing because it's a prototype. They're building it for the very first time here. So you can look at elements of it. You could look at the panel. You could look at the patent applications and the patent grants for each of these individual pieces.
Is there a control room for it, or
there will be, but it's not online yet. It'll probably be the last thing that's brought online.
Okay.
So yes, there will be a control room.
That's like the hardware's there, but nothing is set up at all. to
Right,
actually
right.
function.
Like everything's on crates still. All the gear is still racked and hasn't been like installed or wired or lined in yet. So so that's what you're basically coming back to. You can now, what is finished is all the living areas, right? So the second floor and the first floor are basically done. The first floor is the offices and the commercial front of the Sentinels, right? So if someone is working for the Sentinel organization, if they're a secretary, if they're
Let me guess, Mr. Mars, has the gift shop already open?
well, we got to get some products in there, but yeah, it's coming. It's coming. So the first floor is anybody who works for the company. The second floor, which is and also know that each floor has beyond the first floor. First floor is code red. Basically, you have to have red security clearance to even get on the first floor. So you have to be like in the club or invited by the club just to be here. Beyond the first floor, to get into the second floor, it has to be you or equal membership, because this is your living quarters. This is your dining area. This is your gym. This is your, the pool where you swim. This is where you live. This is your living space. So abso-fucking-lutely nobody but the people who live or directly serve or service within that area, your chefs, are going to come into your dining room. They're going to come cook for you. Your pool guy is going to come clean your fucking pool. Your gym people are going to keep your gym equipment maintained. But it's like high security area, big background checks. You will know, you'll get dossiers for everyone. So in the beginning, you might be carrying around everybody's digital dossiers. So you see somebody working, you're like, who the fuck is that? Oh, that's John so-and-so. There's John Silverman. He's a second tier engineer. He's working on these systems. Okay, you're clear. Hi, John. Until you get to know everybody. And anytime a personnel change happens, that high security shit will occur where you'll get memos. This person will no longer be working in white sector areas. These persons will be replacing them. There is no room for happenstance in Sentinel Tower. You won't ever see a person and go, hey, who the fuck are you? What are you working on? Like, that shouldn't ever happen because of the tight ship that is going to be run here. All right. So that's a thing. So two things before we wrap. We're getting close. We're not quite there yet. There's two things I want to share with you in this kind of building of your HQ for the supergroup. We mentioned before that other superheroes were being interviewed for membership. They're not going to be part of Team 6, but there are other Sentinels being interviewed. And was it Mars or was it Paul? No, it was Mars who told you this would happen. It's Mars who promised that you would see dossiers before final decisions were made. And it was Paul who said, we were just about to make employment options for all these people. And I just found out just last night that I'm supposed to make their dossiers available to you beforehand. So that has happened. When you return back to HQ, Steve, there is a sealed courier bag, the kind of courier bag that you have to know the code to get it open, to get the documents out, top secret. And there are physical dossiers for a number of superheroes. I will give you just their basic names and basic themes for now. You'll have access to know more about them in the future, but here are the people that are being considered for membership in the Sentinels. The first one is codename Dragon Eye. His name is Larry Chin. He works as a magician. He lives in Emerald City. He has the ability to channel different aspects of the dragon and manifest them in magical effects.
The hell does that mean?
We'll find out. His name, he was Dragon Eye.
Dragon Eye, yeah. And he has his costume looks like, there's a picture with his dossier. His costume looks like a gi, like a
Oh, okay.
like a kung fu
Yeah,
gi.
yeah.
And he's an energy
Everybody was
manipulator.
kung fu fighting.
Right. He's an energy
Yeah,
manipulator. So
nice.
he's got the ball of energy.
Classic.
That's the first one. The second is Kid Robot.
Another kid.
Occupation
Another kid.
hero.
Occupation
Base
hero. Oh.
Emerald City. Kid Robot is a compact, boy-sized mechanical body, which is tougher and stronger than a normal human body. His computer brain is immune to mental powers that work on living minds. His real power as a kinetic deflector system he was designed to control.
Actual robot. Oh,
Kid
that's
robot.
Super cool.
Okay.
That's very cool.
Look at that face.
Kid Robot.
That's great.
Next is the Mongrel. The Mongrel's real name is Michael Morgan. He works as a paramedic in Emerald City. Mongrel's power all stem from his bestial nature. He's stronger, faster, and has more endurance and is more aware of his surroundings, in addition to being able to perceive in ways that he can't in his human form. In both forms, he recovers faster than he did before he gained his powers and seems to have a close connection with animals. Wow. Phyllis.
We got another one. Oh,
Okay.
Okay,
But that's
he's like,
Mongrel.
so he's like a humanoid, like a werewolf kind of guy.
Yeah. Yeah, like wolf cat kind of guy. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a furry.
He's a furry. Yeah.
Who's a
Yeah.
good boy?
definitely.
He's a good boy.
Next up is codename Princess. Princess's real name is Jessica Prentice. She is a pre-med student at Emerald City University.
Oh,
Princess's powers revolve around her enhanced strength, speed, and resilience. She has the build of a tallish but fairly average-sized young woman. She's a physical powerhouse. In addition to her powers, she's quite bright and is excellent at motivating others around her to perform better. Hey.
cheerleading.
With mentoring, she has become with mentoring, she may become an excellent leader. So here's Princess.
We go to the same college.
Cute.
I've probably seen her around campus at some point.
Actually, you could make a relevant role to know if you know Jessica Princess.
Sure. Let's see.
I would totally allow
what would
that.
that be?
I will give you her personality if you do.
Okay. What check would that be?
Is
No
there
local knowledge.
is there a local or a society or anything that is connected to your academics? If not, then it would just probably be straight intelligence. And
Would
intelligence.
it be like a same as an insight? I don't know.
Insight is wisdom, though, isn't it? Or
awareness.
presence?
Oh, it's
Is it
awareness.
Awareness. Yeah, this would be intellect.
Intellect.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have anything that's intellect based? Then, I don't see anything that seems to be matching. So I'll just throw in an intellect die, see what
Sure.
happens. I have plus zeros. Pretty random. 14.
Okay. 14.
I mean, we're in very
Roll-
different fields if she's pre-med, so
Yeah. Roll a high-low for me. Doesn't matter what.
Alright,
I just
sure.
roll. Give me a high-low.
I'll go. I'll
Flip a
try.
fucking coin.
Yeah, I'll try high. I got low, so nope.
All right. So you know of her. It's impossible to be anywhere near this woman and not be exposed to more than just a little. She
Uh-huh.
takes up a lot of space. She's a big personality. The high roll was to see if you had any classes together, and you do not have any
Not
classes.
surprising if she's, she's stuck in pre-med.
You know that Jessica Prentice
I'm
is
fashion.
she has a bombastic and powerful personality. Her appearance makes her the center of attention, and she's naturally helpful and supportive. So instead of being like the mean girl cheerleader center of attention,
Mhm.
she's like the Disney princess without animals landing on her finger fucking kind of center of
Yeah.
attention,
Yeah.
right?
She's got attractive on her advantage list. That's
You
what that
know
is.
her to be a really big geek.
Oh,
And like she's really into anime, computer games, and she likes to read fantasy erotica.
we could be friends.
Yeah, you guys could be big friends. So that's Princess. So you bring up Princess, and you're like, "Oh, I know Jess. I know her. Like I've been around her before."
Yep.
All right. So next up, code name Rocky. Real name, Rocky Jones. Occupation, former entertainer. Jose will absolutely get a role, whether you know Rocky.
He just took off his headset. He's coming.
No, it's
back.
okay. He's close by.
Yeah.
Rocky is a genetic twist that was obvious when he was born. He looks like he's made out of slate gray stones. His features and contours are angular, and over the years, he's grown stronger and rockier and more impervious to harm. As a child, he would lift hundreds of pounds, then thousands, and now in his 30s, he's able to lift around 100 tons. He's had some training to how to fight and harness his strengths, so he has a few tricks up his sleeve. Rocky doesn't know it, but he's effectively immortal. His body stopped aging a while ago. So as an entertainer, he worked as a spectacle boxer in Emerald City. So not a true, he's not actually going to have any belts. He's not going to fight any real fighters. He's the spectacle guy that they bring out and, watch the stone guy fight the polar bear or watch the stone guy fight 12 guys at once. He's that guy. So, Jose, if you would give me a role, let's call that an intelligence check as well. Same kind of thing, just to recall whether or not you know Rocky and how well you know him.
I rolled a 5 before adding
Okay.
anything, and I'm
All right.
not that smart, so probably not.
Different rounds. You were wrestling rounds. He was boxing rounds. Very little crossover, but a common theme nonetheless.
Yep.
There are only a couple more. Oh, there's quite a bit of dossiers. Jesus Christ. All right, I'll try to get through them because I don't want to keep us too past the hour. The Rook. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't show you Rocky, did I? I showed you Princess, but I haven't showed you Rocky yet. So let me keep consistent and show you
Stone
Rocky.
Man.
So there's
Yeah.
the big boy,
That's what I pictured.
That
kind of like
tracks.
Sting, but not orange,
Yeah.
Next up.
Stone, less rock.
Next up is the Rook. Jack Cooper is his name. He is a retired .com entrepreneur, which means Steve probably has some options to have connections with him, potentially, not guaranteed, but potentially. Most of the Rook's abilities are the results of years of training, physical conditioning, and studying. He's an excellent hand-to-hand combatant as well as being skilled with an arsenal of gadgets and weapons. The Rook's cowl and wings are advanced pieces of technology, granting him enhanced senses and the ability to fly using anti-gravitational systems and engines in the wings for propulsion. All right, so he's kind of a Batman-y kind of inventor kind of guy. That's the Rook. He's fun. You don't know anything about his personality, you know.
He looks like a blast.
He looks like a dick, doesn't he? He looks like he's just a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
He's that guy, you know. Batman was never a really nice guy. Batman was a
No,
asshole.
he
was
was
a
an
shit-
asshole.
He's a shit. He was a shitty person. All right. So he's a shitty hero, an anti-hero. Oh, yeah. Next up, Ultramarine. Real name, Veronica Steely. Occupation, entrepreneur, base Emerald City. Ultramarine's power all come from her battle suit, which was designed and refined over the years of hard work. So she built a super suit. The suit is capable of boosting her strength, firing powerful blue-green lasers, and launching what she calls a net line, capable of adhering to nearly any surface and entrapping its targets. Yep, so she's a suit girl, and she looks like that. And I love the fact that the suit doesn't necessarily look gendery. I
Yeah,
love the
I
fact
like
that
that.
the suit doesn't have
boob
boobs.
plate. Yeah, no.
I'm
boob
glad the
plate.
suit doesn't have boobs to designate her as a woman.
It's a nice touch.
It's fucking phenomenal.
20-inch waist and massive breasts. A massive
Robots
breastplate.
don't need
Yeah.
boobs.
No,
you don't
What's
need
the
boobs
problem?
on your super
Oh,
suit.
yeah.
well, yeah, exactly.
Just-
On your
just
super
don't need
suit.
them on your super suit. It's,
All
you
right,
know.
so I think we have three more to get through. Next dossier is codename Victor. Real name Victor Hieronymus Prophet. Occupation adventurer. Base
What a name.
Emerald City. I know.
Clever.
Hieronymus Prophet. It's like Victor has no superhuman powers.
Okay.
Although Vanguard science and his prophet heritage make him about as physically perfect as a human being can be. He lacks his father's brilliant intellect, however. Victor is a skilled athlete and a masterful unarmed combatant and marksman. He's also an insightful judge of character and is well trained in working with and directing a team. Strategy comes naturally to him. He has a really interesting look. He has this like Silver Age kind of.
Oh,
Wow, he is a perfect human.
he has a ray gun.
He does. So Victor has a ray gun.
Oh my god.
It makes the noise pew pew when you
Yeah.
use it.
It's an orgasmatron.
Pew, pew. Or it makes the staticky sparks sound.
Yeah.
You know, all right. So second to last is Vortex. Real name Matt McDonald. He's a musician and he's unemployed. That's fucked up. That's really fucked
That's
up.
just how it goes sometimes.
Based out of Emerald City.
And he spends all his money on guitars. It's sad.
Everybody knows
Vortex.
one.
I was unemployed too, by the way, when this whole thing started.
It's true.
So
That's true.
Vortex has the ability to open vortices in other dimensions and use them to teleport himself and others, as well as shunt energies into other worlds. In addition, he can open smaller portals to a variety of dimensions and allow their content to stream forth as blasts of destructive energy.
Sounds like
His
a good way to-
projection vortex and wide angle vortex both have the variable disruptor, allowing him to fire blasts of fire, heat, lightning, cold, radiation, and any other attack with an environmental descriptor.
That's
Cool.
Sounds like a
That
good
is
way
cool.
to piss off aliens, just like ripping
So-
portals into your dimension.
So that's Vortex.
That's pretty
Opening
cool.
a portal,
Yeah.
opening up
Other
a
than that-
portal and reaching
Reaching
through.
That's pretty sick.
Sexy.
Yeah.
That's pretty sexy. And last but not least of the dossiers is Zeno. Real name Malik Krin / Kim Kamada. Oh, this is a combination. This looks like two people went and made this
Oh.
new being, is what it looks like. So Malik Krin was a political dissident, and Kim Kamada was a biologist.
Unlike
Zeno is
Mary.
a study of opposites, quiet, cool, and reserved. She is also a fierce advocate of freedom and willing to fight to protect those in need. Zeno is physically powerful, can fly, fire laser beams from her eyes, is ability to change her shape and take other humanoid forms, which she uses to assume her Kim Kamada form.
They
Oh,
like swap
Gotcha.
back and forth.
I see. I see. So Malik Krin is an alien.
Oh,
He's an
plot
alien.
twist.
He's an alien, and she changes form into Kim Kamada, which is okay. I got it now.
Hence
We got it.
Xeno with an X. Yeah.
She is also able to shift out of phase with reality to pass through physical objects. She's powerful.
Fancy.
And here is Zeno. Zeno's cute.
Oh. Look at
Kind of a
those
lizard
eyes.
looking
Yeah.
cat.
Bug eyes.
So there are your dossiers of the people that are being considered
Right. For
for
second team.
for second team. Exactly.
How do you?
Oh, that makes a lot more sense now. Remember I told you there's the image of the Freedom League fighting the good guys and it didn't match you guys? The good guys are from the dossiers. It's a picture of them fighting Zeno and Kid Robot and
That
the
fits.
Rook and the Rock guy and it's now that makes a hell of a lot more sense.
It's that all the prefab content because that
Somebody
those are
else's
the same
iconic,
dossiers.
not ours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you could see
Yeah.
you can see them fighting.
And they're all tied up team for team. Like
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So that is pretty cool. What I would like to do now, anybody have any comments or questions about any of the dossiers, any questions about any of the information? Certainly that's not the end of it. Like, oh, if you didn't write it down, you're fucked. I will, like,
Yeah, I
this is,
figured.
this
Not
is
gonna
just a
do us
little
dirty like
teaser.
that,
This is
man.
just like who do we got? Oh, we got a robot. We got an alien. We got a fucking this. We got a fucking that. Like you're just basically going through them and looking at them just very briefly and quickly. Any questions or any comments or anything before I move on to the last part before we close for session? All right, fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I am now going to read to you the box text, if you will, for scene 4 of the opening gambit. And we will close scene right at the end of that so we can, do that kind of a cliffhanger moment. All right. So as work on your headquarters nears completion, Mars tells you it's time to test the training room. He meets you there, standing in the center of the room, arms outstretched, grinning like a proud papa. The room is large and nondescript right now, but you've all seen it being tested and know what it's capable of and so much more. Once all those tiles were installed, they then stretched a thin layer of some sort of advanced polymer fabric over the top of that. So when you look at the room doesn't have that weird hexagon, like oppressive digital looking thing. It just looks like a plain old room. Mars himself built the systems that power this room. He's been very secretive about it and its equipment with powerful moving floors, powerful weapons, and holographic projectors to simulate all sorts of training scenarios. As the doors slide shut behind you, he lowers his arms and says, "Let the games begin." Then his image digitizes and he fades away. Just as the walls all around you slide open to reveal coil launchers, flamethrowers, taser cannons, while sections of the floor rise up to create a maze of barriers. On the far side of the room, a small white disc with a large red X on it unfolds from the wall near the ceiling. Then you hear Mars say, "Go."
Hmm?
And that is where we will leave you as you're all kind of staged and ready. You're all super jazzed, super psyched to be testing this new technology. And you thought you were coming in for a demonstration. And now you see that
We
you
are
are
the
the demonstration.
And then he fired
Hmm.
us. He said we have to go. I'm taking it pretty personally. I'm not giving the signing bonus back. Fuck that guy.
And
What did you say?
and Miyu,
I'm not giving the
Miyu,
signing bonus back. fuck that guy. I need the money, man. I got to.
Miyu, you can
new truck.
have yourself another hero point for mimicking me in perfect time. For saying what I said in stereo, you get another hero point. All right, boys and girls, we hope you've enjoyed episode 4. Episode 5 is in 2 weeks. Or is it
Oh, 3, I think.
I think
3
it's
weeks?
longer. Yeah,
3
'cause
weeks.
we had to
We did 2
reschedule.
back to back. Yeah, we did 3 and
Yeah.
4 back to back because we knew that we were going to be skipping out 3. So we welcome you back for episode 5 in 3 weeks, and we'll find out what the training room looks
Uh-huh.
like. Thank you once again for tuning in. Thank you, players, for joining in and playing. And we'll